Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Finance Current Affairs series. A very good evening to all of you guys. Good evening everyone, good evening Bhakti. I hope you all are doing well. And can anyone just quickly confirm if I'm audible, if I'm visible? Good evening Atiti. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So guys, Oliveboard is organizing a live webinar. Right, you will be getting here 60-day study plan for your RBI Grade B examination. This is scheduled on 21st of June 2025 at 4 p.m. So in case if you are having any kind of doubt, definitely you can participate in the Q&A session as well. Plus you can have a look at this particular strategy as well for your examination. So do join it. And we have launched a new course of RBI Grade B 2025 also, that is with books, right? So we'll be giving the physical books also here in this course. And you can download the Oliveboard application and you'll be getting all the PDFs related to all the YouTube sessions here. Let's get the discussion started related to our finance current affairs. Okay. CPI retail inflation drops to 2.82% in May 2025. Now this is the lowest over the 6 years. Okay, this is the lowest over the 6 year. In April we were having 3.16. 3.16 was the April 2025 figure, right? Now it's down again to 2.82% in May 2025. Right, so it's again continuously within the range of RBI, right, for the fourth consecutive month. So inflation, I can say that it's very well within the control nowadays, right? If I talk about the food inflation, overall food inflation slowed to 0.93% from 2.73%. It used to be 2.73% in April. Now it is 0.93%, very well within the range, right? And the key contributors are as follows. So now deflation has been observed in multiple essential food categories as well, right? Here you can see the rural CPI and urban CPI as well, and food inflation in rural and urban area as well, though the core inflation is still around 3%. Okay, it's still around 3%, right? Recently RBI slashed the repo rate by 50 basis point and they have also reduced the CRR by 100 basis point. This has also been done. Why? Because we are very well within the range. We are very well within the inflation range, and RBI has revised its forecast for financial year 2026 to 3.7%. We can see here the quarterly data as well, right? 3.7% is the yearly forecast for 2026. Now RBI has again maintained a neutral stance. Why? Because they know that inflation is very well within the range, plus they will definitely be acting more cautiously in case things go worse related to the monsoon outcomes, related to global commodity price trend, or any other thing related to agriculture, right? Next is Grow Nifty India Internet ETF. This is the first of its kind ETF in India. So Grow Nifty India has launched a Internet ETF. The sole reason of telling you these kind of news is at least you are aware of the basic terminologies related to stock market, related to finance, right? So in the last session also we had a great amount of discussion regarding the types of, I will say, the different terminologies basically that were there in the finance, right? So we discussed about ETF, we discussed about index fund, we discussed about benchmarks, right? One more thing that I would like to tell you here is fund of fund structure. So can anyone tell me what do you mean by fund of fund? Do you guys have any idea about fund of funds? What is fund of funds? What do you guys mean by fund of funds? Look, this is a kind of fund. Usually what happens, funds invest in multiple securities. However, fund of fund is such a kind of fund that is investing in multiple funds instead of securities. डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट की जगह म्यूचुअल फंड में लगाना नहीं, देखो वो तो अलग चीज हो गई. यहाँ पे फंड ऑफ फंड का मतलब क्या होता है? दिस इज अ फंड which is again investing in multiple types of funds, right? Let's suppose HDFC FOF, HDFC fund of fund. So HDFC in itself is investing in multiple funds here, right? तो म्यूचुअल फंड खुद ही आगे जाके म्यूचुअल फंड्स और ETF में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है. दैट मीन्स फंड ऑफ फंड. ओके, दैट वाज द वन ऑफ द टर्मिनोलॉजी दैट आई मिस्ड एक्सप्लेनिंग इन माय लास्ट सेशन. सो डेफिनेटली मुझे आज दिखी तो मैंने आज कवर कर लिया यहाँ पे, राइट? Next is a press release on the RBI website. Supervisory Data Quality Index SDQI. ठीक है, SDQI Supervisory Data Quality Index for the Scheduled Commercial Bank. This data is related to March 2025. This data is related to March 2025, right? So RBI has created a Supervisory Data Quality Index that measures the data quality in terms of accuracy, timeliness, completeness and consistency. So 4 criterias are there here. 4 criterias are there that can help us tell the data quality. What are the 4 criterias? Accuracy, whether the data is submitted accurately, whether the data is submitted on the timely manner, whether the data is complete and whether the data is consistent. So here we are having 4 categories. Okay, important for your examination. Here we are having 4 checks. I can say accuracy, timeliness, completeness and consistency, right, in the submission of returns. So objective of SDQI is to assess the adherence to the principles which is stated in the master direction of filing of supervisory return 2024. So there was a master direction in 2024. This SDQI is related to that only. And do remember the trend as well. So they have submitted different information related to accuracy, completeness, timeliness, consistently. Just remember the score of SDQI score, which is the recent score, right? Scheduled commercial bank. If I talk about scheduled commercial bank, there is a growth in the SDQI score. Earlier it used to be 88 point something, now it's 89.3, right? And respectively you can see that in the PSUs, public sector banks, there is a slight decline. There is a slight decline. Okay, good evening Indrani. Okay, so there is a slight decline in PSU, public sector banks. If I talk about private sector banks, again there is a slight increase. Foreign banks में भी increase है. Small finance bank के अंदर decrease है. So I can say that PSUs के अंदर, public sector banks के अंदर plus small finance bank के अंदर there is a decrease in the SDQI score. Rest सब के अंदर there is a increase, right? And you can see that distribution of the SDQI score for the SCBs as well. So here we can see that अलग अलग criteria दे रखा है. Less than 70, between 70 to 80, between 80 to 90 and more than 90. So less than 70 वाले are having major concerns, right? Between 70 to 80 needs improvement, between 80 to 90 acceptable, and more than 90 is good, right? So more than 90 we can see here, it's denoted by the yellow color, right? And we can see a rise in the more than 90 wala score. Earlier in December 2024 it used to be 39 and now it is up by 42 here, right? So we are up at 42 entities are having score of more than 90, right? And we can see here that if I talk about timeliness, there is an increase, right? Completeness, there is a decrease. There is a overall decrease in the completeness. Accuracy के अंदर again there is a very slight increase, right? एंड कंसिस्टेंसी के अंदर अगेन देयर इज अ स्लाइट इंक्रीज, ओनली कंप्लीटनेस के अंदर देयर इज अ डिक्लाइन. However, rest of the three are on the uptrend. Completeness is on the downtrend, right? So that's a data you should be having a basic idea about. And the SDQI score is going up continuously, right? There is a slight increase in the March quarter as compared to the December 2024 wala quarter, right? There is a slight increase. Next is SEBI introduces verified UPI safeguard to prevent fraud. So what used to happen is, if you are investing your money, right, let's suppose you are investing your money in the mutual fund, right, you can use your UPI ID as well to invest in that mutual fund. The problem is these mutual fund companies don't have a fixed UPI ID or a structured UPI ID, right? There is a problem of structure, there is a problem of standardization. So SEBI has told कि भाई तुम एक काम करो, standardization लेके आ जाओ, तुम्हारी UPI ID देख के समझ में आ जानी चाहिए कि तुम्हारी UPI ID है, right? So that कोई fraud के cases ना हो पाए, so that the fraud cases can be avoided as much as possible. Definitely, that's why RBI is bringing so much of regulations regarding the domain changes as well, right? In the NBFCs and banking sector also there was domain changes, bank.in and fin.in, if you guys remember. Similarly, SEBI has also introduced a verified UPI का system, right? So its effective date is 1st October 2025. Please do remember the date as well, right? Support tool. So SEBI is also launching a SEBI check tool. SEBI check tool. What it will do, it will check the UPI, whether the QR codes, whether the bank account, IFSC code are genuine or not, right? That's the purpose. That's the purpose here. So what are the new features here? So new UPI format, they have given us particular structure like broker name .brk, right? BRK stands for broker. So at a glance you can know that whether it's a broker or whether it's another intermediary, right? And they have attached a handle as well, @valid. Okay, so I have done a detailed video. You can have a look at the detailed video so that you can gain a better understanding of it, right? This is the video. It's there on the main channel of Oliveboard, right? Oliveboard regulatory body channel. It's there on the channel. I request you, it's just a 12 minutes video. I request you to please watch this as well, because I have seen most of the students only focusing on RBI circulars. However, SEBI related circulars are equally important for you guys as well, right? They are also equally important. So don't ignore SEBI related circular. In 2024, we have seen that majority of the questions are coming from SEBI circulars as well, right? Next is NSE receives SEBI approval for monthly electricity futures. So now NSE will be launching the monthly electricity futures as well, right? So this supports broader reform in the power market aligned with the Electricity Act and India's net zero emission strategy, right? So NSE here will be launching the futures. What are futures? They are nothing but derivative contracts, right? Now these electricity futures, the value of them will determine on the electricity, right? So electricity will be the underlying asset and electricity futures will be the actual derivative contract, right? So definitely this particular step is going to enhance the market depth and liquidity, right? It will enhance the market depth and liquidity. It will improve the price discovery because we now have the derivative side as well in the market. So definitely facilitate the efficient risk management. So now companies like distribution companies, power generators, investor community can definitely hedge their positions as well. They can do the risk management stuff as well here. They can protect themselves from the huge volatility in the electricity prices by taking positions in the electricity futures that will be traded on the National Stock Exchange. और नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का बहुत ही जल्दी आईपीओ भी आने वाला है, राइट? आप लोगों ने सुना भी होगा. RBI grants scheduled bank status to Vishwakar Sahakari Bank. So RBI has given a scheduled bank status to this particular bank. So this has been registered in the Schedule 2 of the RBI Act, right? Now the minimum paid up related things and supervisory related things, definitely all the things this bank needs to follow, the CRR related deposit things, RBI liquidity window like LAF, there will be benefits plus there will be a lot of responsibility as well if you are a scheduled commercial bank here, right? Or any kind of scheduled banks. Okay. Next, again, is a very straight news. Poonawalla FinCorp launches 24/7 fully digital business loans for MSME. So they will be giving 24/7 access to fully digital business loans specifically for the MSMEs, right? There will be 24/7 instant approval, and risk and analytics framework has also been developed in this particular framework, right? Next is center reduces the basic custom duty on imported crude edible oils. So if you are importing any kind of crude edible oil, so definitely this यहाँ पे center has reduced the rate from 20% to 10%. Okay, 20% to 10% का rate हो चुका है. This is basic custom duty. Whenever you are importing anything from a foreign country, you need to give the basic custom duty to the government. So that has been reduced. It has been halved here, right? RBI enables strips trading in the state government security. Now this particular thing is very, very important for your examination. That's why I have covered it in detail as well. Okay, and today also, in today's session as well, there will be two finance current affairs where we'll be discussing this particular thing. First one is this one, and the second one will also be coming in the coming few slides. So please wait for that as well. So this is very important. RBI enables strips trading for state government securities. If you want to watch in detail, I have made a video, right? Core development, RBI has extended the strips. What is the full form of strips? Separate trading of registered interest and principal of security. So what we are doing here is, there is a security, let's suppose bond. We are doing nothing but we are separating the components, interest component and principal component. दोनों को हम अलग कर देंगे. इंटरेस्ट को हम अलग से बेच देंगे, प्रिंसिपल को हम अलग से बेच देंगे. नाउ दिस कैन डेफिनेटली is a good thing for the liquidity in the market. It gives us a good flexibility as well, जो इन्वेस्टर की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से आप यहाँ पे कस्टमाइज कर सकते हो. लेट्स सपोज ये बॉन्ड है 10 years का, so you can buy first year interest, you can buy third year interest, you can buy fourth year interest or 10th year interest as per your choice, right? So how it is being done? Now they are converting this security, they are separating the two things. First of all, interest and principal. Now they are turning these interest and principal components into zero coupon bonds, right? Into ZCBs. So they won't be paying you interest. They will be issuing these securities at a deeply discounted price, and at maturity you will be getting the face value, and that's what the zero coupon bond is all about, right? That's what zero coupon bond is all about. You issue things at a discount and you redeem it at a par value. That's how you gain the interest, right? It's not regular interest, but you'll be receiving the interest at maturity only. So that's how they do it. They break the bond into interest component and principal component, and they again turn that security into a zero coupon bond so that it's easily tradable. प्लस अब देखो इतने सारे इंटरेस्ट है, मान लो 10 साल का बॉन्ड है, राइट? तो ऐसे 10 सिक्योरिटी तो यही हो गई, अलग अलग ईयर की अलग अलग सिक्योरिटी बेच सकते हो, राइट? यू कैन सेल सिक्योरिटी ऑफ एनी ईयर. सो 10 सिक्योरिटीज तो इंटरेस्ट की हो गई, एक सिक्योरिटी प्रिंसिपल की हो गई. नाउ इट विल बी अ मेस इफ यू स्टार्ट पेइंग इंटरेस्ट ऑन each and every security. It will be a mess. That's why they have converted into a zero coupon bond. ये discounted value पे available है, ये आप ले लो, face value पे redeem हो जाएगा, बात खत्म. इतना हिसाब कौन रखेगा भाई? सही है ना? That's not practically possible. That's why they turn it into a zero coupon bond, right? So earlier they have launched a similar kind of thing in the central government bond as well in 2010. Okay, 2010 के अंदर ये लॉन्च किया गया था. नाउ दे हैव लॉन्च्ड इट इन द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज एज वेल. प्लीज डू रिमेंबर द फुल फॉर्म ऑफ इट. Please do remember that it is specifically for the state government, and you need to know the eligibility criteria as well. The residual maturity should be less than or equal to 14 years. Whatever bond you are converting into these securities, the residual maturity should be should be maximum 14 years. Maximum 14 years. And this is applicable to the fixed coupon SGS only. Let's suppose my bond is having a interest rate well defined. 10% fixed इस पे पे करना है. Definitely I can go for stripping of this bond. If this is a variable linked interest rate bond, I cannot go for the stripping. अरे भाई तुमको interest rate ही पता नहीं है, interest component को अलग कैसे करोगे, right? Rate तो पता होनी चाहिए ना. So that's why it's essential. Outstanding amount should be greater than or equal to 1000 crore. right? Securities must be eligible for SLR compliance, that is statutory liquidity ratio compliant होनी चाहिए security. ऐसा नहीं कि कोई बैंक आपकी security खरीद रहा है, बैंक is buying your security, however it's not SLR compliant. That's not allowed, right? Otherwise it will be again having liquidity issues. If banks are investing in your bonds, definitely it will be having a good amount of liquidity, and this product solves the purpose of insurance companies, banks, and a lot of investors as well, right? So definitely it will be enhancing the liquidity, inform the price discovery. Whenever new products are coming into market, it helps in the price discovery, right? It expands the investment choices as well. Now before this particular thing, I was not having these kind of choices, right? Now I do have a wide variety of choice. So definitely it's always important, right? It's always important. Here you can see the circular as well. It's there on the RBI website, right? All the things I have already told you. Plus, I highly request you guys to please watch this video as well related to stripping in the central state government securities. It's a 26-minute video where I have discussed multiple examples as well, and a lot of things are there in this video. So please do watch it, because this is important for your examination, right? And tomorrow we'll be doing the questions also related to this stripping concept, okay? So do attend the tomorrow's lecture as well related to MCQs on finance current affairs, right? RBI tightens the oversight on newly licensed payment aggregators. We all know that if you are attending the finance current affairs series, you must be aware that RBI has given a lot of access, a lot of licenses to the payment aggregators in the recent past. In the recent past 6 months, RBI has given a lot of licenses as payment aggregators, right? So here RBI has tightened the oversight as well. RBI has defined the responsibility framework as well here. So RBI has intensified scrutiny of the newly licensed payment aggregators, because these are newly formed companies or maybe new in this particular business. Even if they are old, still they are new in this particular payment aggregator business. So there is a high amount of scrutiny required, right? So regular audits, on-site inspections, system and procedural checks, everything is put in place by the RBI so that nothing's go south, right? So focus area, merchant onboarding. Whenever they are onboarding a merchant, that's what the calm of payment aggregator is all about. They are onboarding the merchants, right? They help in the payment settlement of the merchants so that they can easily receive the payment. So all the merchants onboarded are genuine and legally operating business. They are legally operating the business. There is no illegal activity there, right? So that's what the payment aggregators need to have a look at. There is a huge KYC compliance as well, plus board governance. So board approved processes भी लगाए गए हैं. Merchant fraud prevention से related भी काफी सारी चीजें यहाँ पे employ की गई हैं. Basically it's that कि RBI इस पे थोड़ा सा handle tight करना चाह रहा है, right? Next is stress signs in the NBFC MFIs. Capital and borrowing decline in financial year 2025. So financial year 2025 का डेटा देख के लग रहा है कि NBFC MFIs के अंदर there are certain stress signs. Why? Because the equity share capital has declined by 2% overall. The borrowing, outstanding borrowing also fell sharply by 36% year-on-year basis. Now this is reflecting a tight funding access, right? They are not able to access the funding like this. There is a tightening in the funding, especially from the banks and financial institutions. They are quite skeptical while lending to the NBFC MFIs, right? Disbursement and loan trends. Again, the gross loan portfolio contracted by 13%, right? This is suggesting a slowdown in the fresh disbursement. They are not able to grow their portfolio as of now. The gross portfolio is down by 13%, right? And you can just have a look at the rest of the data. यहाँ पे हर चीज के अंदर डिक्लाइन बताया गया है. Don't have to remember each and every percentage. Broad news पता होनी चाहिए, right? Next is RBI plans financial apps for feature phone to deepen the financial inclusion. Now many of the citizens in India are using the feature phones, right? They are still using feature phone. What is a feature phone? Which is not a smartphone, right? वो बटन वाला फोन जो होता था ना, राइट? नोकिया 1100 आता था मेरे टाइम में, ठीक है? बटन वाला जो फोन होता था ना, दैट इज अ फीचर फोन, राइट? दैट्स अ फीचर फोन. So RBI is again working on the financial apps कि कुछ इन फोन्स के अंदर भी फाइनेंशियल एप्स एम्बेडेड की जा सके ताकि आपका यहाँ पे फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन बेटर हो जाए, बिकॉज स्टिल देर आर मेनी पीपल हु आर यूजिंग दीज फीचर फोन्स, राइट, mostly in the tier 3 and the rural areas, right, where smartphone penetration is still low, right. Now this might look impractical कि सर सबके पास स्मार्टफोन ही होता है, पर अभी भी tier 3 और villages के अंदर फीचर फोन भी चल रहा है, राइट. सो दैट्स व्हाई यहाँ पे आरबीआई क्या कर रहा है, एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव सर्वे कर रहा है, प्लस कि ये इस पर्टिकुलर फाइनेंशियल रिलेटेड एप्स की जरूरत है भी कि नहीं, या फिर इससे फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन डीपन हो सकता है या नहीं, राइट. Next is ADB's approve $109.97 million loan for Gujarat skill ecosystem enhancement. So they have approved a huge loan for Gujarat ecosystem skill enhancement. Definitely it will be, the primary objective will be to create future ready and skill aligned workforce to support the Gujarat's ambition of becoming a global industrial hub, right. So it's a training and development kind of a loan, skill based loan that ADB has sanctioned. ADB is none other than your Asian Development Bank only, right. So there is a lot of features as well related to this. You don't have to study these features, right, which is there in the news. You don't have to read these reach and targets and everything, right. Next is RBI stops the daily VRR auction amid the liquidity surplus. So we all know that already there is a lot of liquidity. Good evening, Chetan. We all know that there is a lot of liquidity in the market after the CRR cut and reducing the repo rate as well. So that's why RBI has discontinued the daily VRR auctions that they were continuously doing, right. So starting from 11th of June, they have discontinued this thing. Daily VRR means daily variable repo rate, and we have discussed about this a lot of times in our finance current affairs series. ये auctions होते हैं, राइट, जो आरबीआई ऑक्शन करता था, बोली लगती थी, बैंक आते थे, पैसा लेते थे डेली वीआरआर के लिए. नाउ इट्स बीन डिसकंटिन्यूड फॉर अ व्हाइल, राइट, बिकॉज वी ऑल नो दैट देयर इज अ लिक्विडिटी सरप्लस इन द मार्केट. हाउएवर, इन केस इफ anything comes up in the near future, they will be doing the variable rate reverse repo auctions, right. This is just the reverse of VRR. It is VRRR, right. In case if it is required to absorb the excess liquidity in the near future, as of now I don't think it is anywhere required, because अभी तो liquidity आई है यार सिस्टम के अंदर, right, and दिसंबर तक और भी liquidity आने का चल रहा है because of the CRR cut, right, which they have done in the tranches. So definitely it will also inject 2.5 lakh crore incrementally. That's why RBI has halted or stopped the daily VRR auctions as of now, because as of now we are having a good amount of surplus in the banking channel. NPCI and IRDAI collaborate to strengthen the cybersecurity in digital payment. So National Payment Corporation of India have entered into a MOU with the Institute of Development and Research in Banking Technology. Why? To enhance the cybersecurity resilience in India as of now, right. Next is Credit Access Grameen raises $100 million in multi-currency social loan, right. So they have raised this $100 million via multi-currency social loans. Obviously multi-currency है तो किस में होने वाला है, external commercial borrowing में होने वाला है. There are two currencies that are involved, Japanese yen and US dollar, right. So this is a dual currency structured loan. The amount is $100 million. Now first in MFI sector, India's first multi-currency syndicated social loan in microfinance segment. This is the first multi-currency syndicated loan in the NBFC microfinance segment, right. That's special about this particular loan. So it has been availed by the Credit Access Grameen, right. Next is RBI raises agency commission for bank for conducting the government business. I think we have already covered this in a particular circular. It was the circulars were related to the fees that the banks are earning from the government business, right. Banks are doing the government business. अगर मैं बैंक खोलता हूँ तो मैं pensions process करूँगा, right. बहुत सारी चीजें होती है, government के taxes and all the banks will be processing. That's why we have read a circular sorry as well in the April 2025 month. A lot of circulars were there in the April 2025 month. We have covered this as well. So again, the RBI has revised the commission rates here. You don't have to read each and every rate and all. You don't have to memorize that thing, right? India's trade deficit narrows to $6.6 billion in May 2025. Okay, so the overall trade deficit shrank to 6.6 billion in May 2025, a reduction of nearly 30% year on year basis. Earlier in May 2024, if I compare it with the May 2024 figure, then there is a 30% year on year decline here, right? Merchandise trade deficit narrowed to 21.88 billion US dollar from the 26.4 billion dollar in April. So month on month basis also there is a decline in the merchandise trade deficit here, right? Key drivers: decline in the oil and gold imports, right? So there is a huge decline in the oil and gold import. Service exports are doing well because we already are having a great amount of, I will say, money inflow from KPO side, right? India is a kind of KPO hub, right? We are having so many KPOs. Even if you don't know, majority of our IT companies, we call it IT companies, however they are at the back end KPOs, right? They are doing the outsourcing work for the foreign countries, obviously because of the benefit of the labor amount, right? If the same amount a particular company, let's suppose Amazon, is doing in United States, it's they need to pay a higher amount in terms of wages. However, if I talk about the India side, right, there are a lot of BPOs, KPOs. Yes, Anna. Next is WPI eases to 14-month low of 0.39% in May, right? That's the lowest since March 2024. 0.39% year on year basis. In April we were having 0.85% and now we do have 0.39%. It's very well within the control of RBI, right? And you can have a look at the component wise drivers as well later on. So we are already moving towards the disinflationary trend. Along the CPI dropped to 2.82%. So CPI and WPI both are very well within the range. We are on the disinflationary trend. I already told you guys multiple times, this is disinflation. This is the inflation territory, right? Earlier we were standing here. However, we are moving backwards, right? That's why this is a disinflation. This is not at all a deflation. This is disinflation. Okay. Next is forex reserves. Surged by $5.17 billion to $696.65 billion. Okay. So as of the week ended on 6th June, India's foreign exchange reserve has rose by $5.17 billion, reaching to a new high of $696.65 billion. Okay. So earlier there used to be a certain kind of weakness in the forex reserves. However, again we are on the verge of upgrading it. So this level is close to the all-time high of 700 plus billion recorded in September 2024. So the last highest was recorded in September 2024 and we are nearly to a all-time high, right? And you can have a look that foreign currency assets, they are contributing to the majority of it, right? Increased by approximately 3.47 billion, gold reserve 1.58 billion, right? So rest of the things I can see that they are less than the foreign currency assets as well. So here we are having the top performer foreign currency asset, then we have gold, then we have gold, then we have special drawing rights, and फिर IMF का reserve tranche portion आ जाता है, right? So definitely this increased buffer is very helpful for managing the currency volatility. Again, our Indian rupee was very much volatile in front of the dollar in the recent past, right? So this will definitely helping the rupee stabilization as well. Plus we are having enough foreign reserves to cover at least even 11 plus months of our merchandise imports, right? So that's again a good sign. Next is NABARD awarded 19,500 crore approval in the zero coupon bond. So recently government has approved the NABARD's plan to raise up to 19,500 crore via deep discount zero coupon bond. What is a deep discount zero coupon bond, guys? We understand the zero coupon bond, right? What is this deep discount? That means the face value, there is a good amount of difference between the face value and the issue price. That's why we call it as deeply discounted. Yes, Aditi, deeply discounted, right? It is deeply discounted. So here we can see that the issue price is 10,000 crore something and face value is 19,500. So it's a deeply discount zero coupon bond, right? So definitely it won't be paying you a regular amount of interest. However, at the end of the tenure, it will be giving you a big amount of money. However, the interest rate is close. The CAGR that you will be having on this particular bond is close to, I think, 7 to 8%. Why? Because it's maturing in 10 years, 11 months, right? So 10 year, 11 months, 13 days is a अच्छा खासा time period, right? Yes, Chetan. Perfect. Right? So strategic purpose, usually we offer deep discount bond for raising long-term funds. We can see here that this particular bond is being issued for 10 years, 11 months and 13 days, right? Low cost capital, right? आप long term के लिए borrow कर रहे हो, आप low cost पे borrow कर रहे हो. It will definitely support the expansion of rural credit and infrastructure financing. Why? Because it's obviously going to NABARD, right? They will be expanding the rural credit plus infrastructure financing to meet the objectives. No reinvestment risk. Investors benefit from no reinvestment risk. इसका क्या मतलब होता है? What do you guys mean by no reinvestment risk? Any idea? What do you guys mean by no reinvestment risk? देखो समझना क्या होता है. Let's try to understand this particular thing. Let's suppose in a bank I made a FD of 1 crore. I made a FD of 1 crore. Right? The tenure of this FD is 1 year. The rate of interest was 7%, right? So what I was doing is I was earning interest from this FD and I was investing this interest income somewhere else, right? However, after 1 year, RBI started cutting the interest rates, slashing the interest rates. Now in year 2, year 3, year 4, I am earning, instead of 7%, I am earning 6%, then I am earning 5%, then I am earning 4%. This is a reinvestment risk. Whatever I am earning as interest, I will be reinvesting that on lower amounts in the coming years, right? Because of the declining interest rates. Right? That's a problem. Reinvestment risk. जो रिटर्न आप कमा रहे हो, क्या आप उसको उसी रेट पे इन्वेस्ट कर पाओगे? क्या नहीं कर पाओगे? Why? Because the interest rates are going down. Now these kind of things are not there in the zero coupon bond, right? Because it's straight, it's issued at a discount, it's redeemed at par. You already know your return. So there is no reinvestment risk because you are not getting anything regularly out of the zero coupon bond. Instead, they are paying you directly at the end of the tenure, right? So there is no reinvestment risk, and that's a good advantage of a zero coupon bond over other investments, right? Next is RBI's LAF, Liquidity Adjustment Facility Corridor, and its role in the rate transmission. This is not a finance current affairs. This was an article in the Economic Times, and I feel that it's a good question to be asked from the descriptive angle. Okay, so they can ask you from the descriptive angle. Do prepare it very well. I'll also try to bring a descriptive session around these kind of concepts, right? Now, what do you mean by liquidity adjustment facility corridor? Now, let's suppose this is a corridor, right? This is the cap, or I can say ceiling, or I can say the top of the corridor, and this is the base of the corridor, or I can say the floor of the corridor, right? It's floor of the corridor, right? Now, if I talk about RBI's LAF, liquidity adjustment facility corridor, this ceiling is none other than our marginal standing facility, which is also called as MSF, right? Marginal standing facility. This base or the floor is nothing but SDF, right? So the ceiling is MSF, marginal standing facility. This base is SDF, स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी. भाई तुम्हारे पास एक्सेस पड़ा है तो तुम क्या करोगे, आरबीआई में डिपॉजिट करवा दोगे, एसडीएफ लोगे, स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी. दिस वी आर डूइंग फॉर, दिस आरबीआई इज डूइंग फॉर एब्जॉर्बिंग द liquidity from the market. MSF is kind of emergency funding. If you need immediate money, you can go to the RBI. They'll give you at MSF, marginal standing facility. It's a emergency wala money. Your repo rate will be floating between these two always, right? So that's a LAF corridor. This particular concept is called as LAF corridor. Your MSF is on the top, on the base is your, on the floor is your SDF, or in between RR repo rate is being fluctuating, right? So beautifully in that article they have described each and everything. That's why I just summarized everything for you guys. Okay, so do read these things. You already know everything. I have mentioned the component details as well, the basic meaning of that as well, कि repo rate क्या होता है, marginal standing facility क्या होती है, ना SDF क्या होता है, right? सो कैसे आरबीआई इसको कंट्रोल करता है नॉल, ये आप प्लीज एक बार जरूर पढ़िएगा पीडीएफ डाउनलोड करके, राइट? व्हाट हैपेंस इफ द रेट क्रॉस द कॉरिडोर. तो यहाँ पे देखो अलग अलग चीजें बता रखी है कि अगर कॉरिडोर क्रॉस कर रहा होता है, राइट, तो कैसे नैरो किया जाता है कॉरिडोर को, कैसे वाइड किया जा सकता है. लाइक आरबीआई में नैरो द कॉरिडोर ड्यूरिंग द मॉनेटरी टाइटनिंग. जब आरबीआई मॉनेटरी टाइटनिंग कर रहा होता है तो वी कॉल इट कि नैरो कर रहा है कॉरिडोर को, राइट? And when they are widening the corridor, that means they are allowing greater flexibility in the liquidity management, right? So I have mentioned each and everything here. Please do read it. Then definitely we can discuss it in some other session. I'll bring a detailed descriptive session as well related to this concept, because I personally feel that it can be important from your descriptive angle, right? तो इसको एक बार आप अपने लेवल पे पढ़ना. मैंने समराइज करके बहुत इजी लैंग्वेज में दे दिया है. स्टिल मैं भी इसको डिस्कस करूंगा, पर डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन में डिस्कस करूंगा. किसी भी आने वाले सेशन के अंदर आई विल बी टेकिंग अ डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन एज वेल, राइट, रिलेटेड टू दिस. नेक्स्ट इज पीएसयू बैंक्स directed to increase credit flow to productive sector. Now PSU banks, public sector undertaking banks, they want to increase the credit flow to the productive sector. So government has instructed clearly the PSU banks कि भाई तुम्हारा क्रेडिट फ्लो जो है वो प्रोडक्टिव सेक्टर्स यानी कि MSMEs, SHGs, की एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेटिंग सेगमेंट्स के अंदर डाइवर्ट कर दो. सो बैंक्स विल आइडेंटिफाई द 50 हाई एम्प्लॉयमेंट MSME clusters here. Bank will be identifying the 50 high employment MSME clusters here, and definitely they will be aggressively lending in these sectors, right? So bank क्या करने वाला है, लोन मेलाज ऑर्गेनाइज करने वाला है. क्रेडिट अप्रेजल स्टैंडर्ड्स, अंडरराइटिंग ड्यू डिलिजेंस, एवरीथिंग विल बी देयर, एवरीथिंग विल बी स्ट्रेंथन टू अवॉइड द मिसयूज. Whenever you are increasing the credit flow, right? तो मैं बोल सकता हूं कि ये बून के साथ एक कर्स भी आता है, राइट? तो क्या कर्स आता है कि जैसे आप क्रेडिट फ्लो बढ़ाओगे, यू विल बी फेसिंग द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ क्रेडिट अप्रेजल. अब बढ़ाया है तो हो सकता है इजी क्रेडिट अप्रेजल्स किए हो, राइट? अंडरराइटिंग ड्यू डिलिजेंस अच्छे से नहीं हुआ हो. सो दे विल बी डूइंग इट एग्रेसिवली. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि वो पूरा टैप खुला छोड़ देंगे क्रेडिट फ्लो बढ़ाने के लिए. इट वॉन्ट बी दैट ईजी, right? Every checks will be in place definitely. And the targeted support to sectors crucial for plant and equipment financing. and employment generation. Here the government wants to channelize the money to plant and equipment financing and employment generation. Ultimately क्या होना चाहिए, ES चेतन NPS हो जाता है ना, इसीलिए तो अल्टीमेटली गवर्नमेंट क्या चाहती है कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हो, राइट. दैट्स द मेजर इनिशिएटिव हियर. And they have released that a gram credit score rollout is also there. So gram credit score is being developed for rural borrowers and priority sector applicant like SHGs और farmers, और इन सब के लिए क्या निकला है, gram credit score निकला है. It is for rural borrowers and priority sector applicants. So this credit score will factor in the non-traditional parameters as well that we are as of now not using for the evaluation, right? It will be considering the non-traditional parameters as well to ease the credit access here. Ajay, next, this is again related to strips recently allowed in the state government securities. Insurance firm to benefit significantly from the strips in state government securities, right? अब इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज को, इंश्योरेंस फर्म्स को कैसे बेनिफिट होगा? लेट्स सपोज मैंने कोई इंश्योरेंस प्लान लिया, किससे लिया? HDFC से लिया मान लो, ठीक है. आई हैव टेकन अ इंश्योरेंस प्लान फ्रॉम HDFC जिसकी मेच्योरिटी 10 years है. इन 10 years दिस विल बी मेच्योरिंग, ठीक है. So now HDFC Bank is having an obligation. What is the obligation? That after 10 years, HDFC Bank needs to pay, let's suppose, a sum of 1 crore rupee to me, right? Now HDFC Bank also needs such kind of instruments in which they can safely park the money and eventually gain a good amount of interest so that they can pay me 1 crore rupee, right? So now they can also invest in strips of state government securities. Let's suppose कोई state government की security है, there is a strip security of state government, principal strip है मान लो, इसकी maturity भी after 10 years है. So now HDFC Bank can easily park the money here. They will buy the zero coupon bond of this principal strip, and after 10 years they will be getting a good amount of interest. They will be paying me 1 crore rupee, right? And in that manner they have hedged their risk, right? So earlier they used to only invest in central government securities. Now they have a wide variety of options in the state government securities as well, right? Financial instrument आ गया नया, right? एक नया financial instrument आ गया जो पहले नहीं था. So now they can invest in the state government securities as well. यही सब जो मैंने अभी आपको बोला वही मैंने यहाँ पे PDF में समराइज वे में लिख रखा है, इसको आप बाद में पढ़ सकते हो, right? Definitely they will be having a regulatory advantage as well because as per the IRDAI norms, they are permitting the insurance company to hold the strips as part of their solvency or ALM, asset liability management strategy. So यहाँ पे IRDAI भी उनको प्रमोट करेगा obviously to hedge the portion. This will be helpful for insurance companies, for pension funds, right, and a lot more investors. Lending yields likely to decline in financial year 2026 because of the caution by the banks. So banks are opting a cautious approach here, right? Now lending yields is estimated to be dropped by is going to be dropped by 50 basis point here in financial year 2026, right? That's an estimation. Now interest margins, net interest margin can also shrink by 20 to 25 basis point. Why? Because of the repo rate cuts, because of shift to secured lending, right? Earlier banks used to aggressively give loans on credit cards, on bank overdraft and personal loans and all, right? Now they are shifting towards secured lending. Now in secured lending, profit margins are not that much high, right? If a bank is issuing a credit card, definitely there is a chance to earn a high amount of interest if the party defaults. However, if it's a home loan, the penalties, the interest rates are not that much, right? So the margin is shrinking because of shifting to secured lending and low demand for retail unsecured credit as well, right? So these are the basic reasons. Higher credit deposit ratios as well. So whatever they are gaining as deposit, they are already lending as credit. That's why there is a high credit to deposit ratio. Now let's suppose if my bank has received 1 lakh and I'm just lending almost 95,000 rupees, right? So my CD is 95%, credit to deposit ratio is 95%, right? So I'm aggressively lending. By I'm even lending because even if the rate of interest is coming as low, right? अगर मैं कम कमा रहा हूँ, if the rate of interest is low, still I'm lending. That's why I'm able to achieve a high CD ratio, credit to deposit ratio. Otherwise, definitely I'll be having some idle funds. However, I don't want to keep idle funds. I'm even able to give the money at lower interest rates, right? So this is also a criteria. This is also a criteria. Plus, banks are quite cautious nowadays. They are shifting their focus to secured lending, right? That's why lending yields likely to decline in financial year 2026. So that's all from my end, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you soon in tomorrow's video related to MCQs on finance and current affairs. Bye bye. Take care. Okay, that's all from my end. Good night, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.